Hi, my name is Brian Chadwick, and I am the inventor of the VaporVault pressure isolation device. As you can see, I have 6 of them lined up here in front of me with various colors and surface textures. Before getting in too much on how these work, we'll do that a little later, we need to tell why these leakages can occur. Improper assembly of the e-fluid tank, right there. That can be a problem. You'll get leakage if it's not assembled properly. Bad O-rings or O-rings that are not seated properly, that can cause leakage. It can simply be just a poor design of the e-tank itself. If it's not designed properly, you can get leakage. Temperature increases, that can give you leakage. The first time I went out to the golf course 7 years ago with my e-cig, I noticed that it was about 90 degrees Fahrenheit that day, and I noticed that I was starting to get some spittering and sputtering and leakage of liquid when I was using my e-cig at those temperatures. So I thought something was wrong with my e-cig at that point in time. I went down to the vapor store. In fact, I actually went to several different vapor stores asking them if there was a solution. And they basically didn't have a good answer for that, other than maybe doing things like having your e-cig and turning it upside down or things like that, which didn't work. And then there was the next problem, and that was during airline flights, which I flew quite a bit back then, and the pressure delta. Sometimes when you get on the airline flight, the pilot will adjust the cabin pressure to 0.8 atmosphere, whereas before you got on the plane it was 1 atmosphere. That's enough of a pressure delta that can cause leakage too, and that is the specific problem that the VaporVault addresses. So, when I went to vapor stores asking them for solutions to these problems, the temperature issue was the first one. No good answers. But what I did find out when I went golfing, I thought might be something with the hot day that was causing the leakage. So I would, on the golf cart, I put a wet, cold towel on one side of the cart, and I just laid my e-cig on there, and it kept it cool. And I noticed that there was no leakage or spittering and sputting when I used it, so obviously temperature was the issue. Airline flights, it's a completely different issue. It's pressure in that case, and it's that delta in pressure that causes the leakage. Going to vape stores, like I said, the temperature issue they really didn't have a good answer for. And it's not just temperature from the outside. If you, like when you were a smoker and you chain smoke a lot, the cigarette would get kind of hot. Same thing can happen with one of these e-cigs. If you're basically chain vaping, do all the time, lots of problems with leakage in that case too, because the whole unit itself comes heated up by the coils that are being used so often. And so that's one form of leakage from the inside that can happen. There's lots of reasons why these things can leak. On the pressure issue, on airplanes, basically what they told me in that case was either, like I said, hold it upside down, maybe it won't leak then, or just simply put it inside a sealed up baggie, and that way if it does leak, at least the fluid is leaking or kept inside the baggie. Not a very elegant solution to the problem. So let's focus in now on the ideal gas law. That pretty much explains, I think, what's happening during an airline flight. The equation pressure equals Avogadro's number, the gas times the gas constant times temperature, all divided by volume. That is the ideal gas law. From that, we don't have to solve any equations or anything here, but one thing we need to know is that pressure is directly proportional to temperature. Meaning in this case, if temperature is increasing, your pressure is increasing also. You're also inversely proportional. Pressure is inversely proportional to volume. In other words, if you get a larger volume, you're going to get a smaller pressure. Avogadro's number, N, is directly proportional to pressure also. That's all it's saying is the more molecules of gas you add to a given volume, the pressure is going to go up. So, how do we use this information to solve the problem? Well, basically what you want to do is a device like this, the vapor vault. I'll demonstrate to you here. You have two end caps. One and one on the other end. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your, e-fluid tank, attach it using your 510 connector, and the end cap and the 510 connector here, male and female parts of it. And you put that on there until it's snug. And now one that I've been using right now, another tank, e-fluid tank, and you can screw that on to your 510 connector. And now, if you put the end cap on, there's a O-ring there, just to it snug so it's sealed. Same thing on the other end. Now, what you've done is you've created a little mini environment that is at 1 atmosphere pressure. So when you would go to the airport to get on the plane, before you go onto the plane itself, while you're still in the terminal, you would do what I just did. And now you can take this onto the airline flight with you. You make sure you don't loosen it up or anything during the flight. You want to keep those ends sealed. And it'll remain at 1 atmosphere pressure inside. Even though the pilot may turn the cabin pressure down to 0.8 atmosphere, this will remain at 1 atmosphere. So there's no pressure delta to worry about and no leakage. When you get off the flight, you get back into the terminal, now you can sit down and you can take these end caps off. We'll just take one for right now. Remove it from the end cap and put it back onto your battery, and it should work. Works perfectly. So now another thing you can do, remember we still have one of the fluid tanks on this one end cap here. You can put your e-fluid storage bottle, a 30 milliliter bottle. This is designed to accept that. You put it with the rubber part down, and now you can put this end cap on. You don't have to connect the 510 connector, it's just sitting in there and it's snug. And now you're ready to get on the airplane again, and you have your storage bottle. That size of bottle for myself when I'm traveling, easily good for 2 weeks worth of travel without running out. So once you get through with your flight and you're landing, you're back in the terminal. Now you can take this back out. Yeah. There's the bottle. Everything looks good. And put the end cap back on. Now we can try something else too. It's a little different. There's your e-fluid tank. This is a different type of electronic cigarette. It doesn't have a 510 connector. However, you can still put it into here. And let's take off this e-fluid tank from the end cap. And now we can simply put it on here. Both ends sealed. Now you can see it's not connected solid, but it is within the 1 atmosphere volume that will remain at 1 atmosphere during the flight. So that stops any leakage of that type of e-cig also. So you don't always have to have the 510 connector connected. There you go. I think it probably still works. Let's see. Still works perfectly. So let's put this back together now. So that's ready to go. We have my little fluid stand that I use. Put that on. And you're right back where you started with everything. So let's to recap this, the things that are very, very important when using the vapor vault. Number one, when you get onto the airplane, you want to make sure that you've already got your products in, or your fluid tanks in here, and everything is sealed up, and you're at 1 atmosphere. And don't open it up during the flight. Now, one thing that I wanted to show you also is, this works with almost all e-fluid tanks that I found out in the marketplace. Just to give an example here, the 2 longest ones that I found, or I should say the longest, the one I found, I've got 2 of them, are right there. These both can go into the vapor vault, and there's enough distance in there that they both fit and can stay there during your flight. If for some reason, let's say that those didn't fit in there properly, and you have a problem with them touching each other in the middle down there, one thing you can do is just take off the tip, the mouthpiece. You can drop that down there with that if you want. You have more room, and now it's ready for your flight again. So there's lots of variations and things you can do with the vapor vault. We're probably going to later on come out with some different dimensions to handle different situations. But again, the part you really need to worry about is that when you get on the airplane and you're already at 1 atmosphere and everything's sealed up, don't open it up while you're on the airplane. You want to keep it snug and sealed all the way, and then just take it out when you get off the plane, and then you're back to using your e-cig. Probably the next thing is, if you do have a leak for some reason, say you assembled this e-fluid tank improperly, it's very easy to open this thing up when you get to the airport or back in the terminal, and you'll see a little bit of leakage. Just seal it back up, and then head off to the nearest bathroom, run some warm water, take the end caps off, and you can clean everything, all that leaked e-fluid out very, very easily. This shouldn't happen very often, but tanks do get improperly assembled from time to time. Sometimes O-rings break or don't seat right. All these things can cause leakage, and that type of thing can happen. If you want to know more about the product and how to get it, please use our website at www.thevaporvault.com. I appreciate your time, and hopefully you'll be a customer. Thank you.